Electoral Commission bows to pressure, suspends controversial 18-member steering committee as IPAC meets over the preparation for the November 7 elections.
Management is a professional thing. We have director of IT, we have director of elections, we have director of training, we have director of research, you have all kinds of directors. Their professionalism must come to bear.
We'll bring you reactions from the political parties and ask what informed this decision by the election regulatory body. Does this mean they are going to make way for another commission? And how long will it take the EC to make this decision? This is today's big story with me, Kwache Afreniama. The election regulatory body has directed the committee to halt its operation with immediate effect as it reviews calls for its dissolution. This was after an emergency IPAC meeting earlier today to hear concerns of the parties. Let's listen to representatives of the opposition parties. First, the MPP's campaign manager, Peter McMahon.
We have said it time and over again that it is not a good thing. It is not a good thing. One, I have attended every IPAC. I haven't seen any agenda on steering committee. Two, this is the Electoral Commission's own timetable and events towards 2016 election. There's nothing on it. So you don't go out of the blue. And then the institutions that they claim are representing, that individuals are representing, like the National Service, the Armed Forces, the police, they are doing their own thing in support of the election. I know as a fact that, for example, the National Election Security Task Force has been inaugurated, and the regional bodies have been inaugurated. So why do you bring and then if you want to set up a committee, I'm saying election management is a professional thing. We have director of IT, we have director of elections, we have director of training, we have director of research, you have all kinds of directors. Their professionalism must come to bear on the upcoming elections, not people from National Service and others. No.
The MPP certainly must feel vindicated by the EC stance.
Oh, we think that they have done the right thing, so we are wait. They said they are going back to the drawing board. So let's see what comes out of the board.
So that was campaign manager of the MPP, Mr. Peter McMahon, and the party's representative, in fact, one of the representatives at the IPAC meeting today. We can now hear from national chairman of the PNC, Mr. Bernard Morna.
Well, the issue was brought up by virtually all political parties. We felt that it was an issue that possibly, if it was discussed at IPAC, the political parties could make some contributions into this particular matter because it borders on elections. We tried as much to find the mandate and the functions of the steering committee. It appears that the Electoral Commission itself is not certain what they want the steering committee to do. And therefore, the myriad of questions that were put before the commission, it appears that the commission is taking a second step. They have asked that we should leave the matter as it is because they themselves are now reviewing the matter, particularly with reference to the many questions that have been raised in the media and what we're asking them. Because, for instance, it was asked that if it is to ensure transparency in elections, the actors in these elections are largely the political parties. How come that the political parties do not have representation on a committee to oversee the elections in this matter? What is the essence of inviting so-called civil society groups, so-called other institutions, that we do not know their biases in terms of political affiliation? So as we can say, I would say that the Electoral Commission intends to temporarily suspend this and do due diligence on what they want the committee to do and get back to the political parties so that together we can sing the same tune as to whether there is indeed the need for this steering committee to be set up by the Electoral Commission and whether its work will enhance the collective agenda that all of us are looking for.
So that was the national chairman of the People's National Convention, Mr. Bernard Moore. Now we'll take a quick break. When we return, we speak to the MPP's representative at this meeting. One of them, in fact, I must emphasize, Mr. Obiamwa, MP for Akuapem South, get a deeper understanding of what the party makes of this latest decision by the Electoral Commission, and also speak to the representative of the NDC at today's IPAC meeting and do some analysis as well. We'll be right back. Welcome back to today's big story with me, Kwache Afrenium. We're still delving into this controversial steering committee of the Electoral Commission. We know that the EC, after an IPAC meeting today, has decided to halt the committee's operations to review the concerns raised by the major opposition political parties, the MPP, NDC, the MPP, CPP, PPP, and the other parties. In fact, we know that the NDC is the only political party that is backing this decision. We have thankfully been joined on the line by Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Mr. Joy Lawson. Thanks for joining us on today's big story. I'm wondering how your party would react to this in view of your position when this issue came up.
Good evening. We don't have anything to say because as far as the steering committee will not make us win the election. It's hard work. Our work, the work that we've done, that will make us win. So we are not so much focused on that steering committee. But if the electoral commission has decided to suspend OBE, that is, those powers, it's within their powers. So they set it up and they have decided to suspend it. So we don't have anything actually to say.
Well, when this discussion came up, the NDC completely rubbished the concerns of the other political parties. Does the EC's position not give a certain indication that their concerns may hold some merit?
We never rubbish the concerns of or the concerns of other political parties. What we were saying was that they were mentioning some people who are card-bearing members, apart from Dr. Carl Ahin. The others we don't know them as members. But meanwhile, on the committee, they are well-known MPP members. They didn't mention them. And we have, because we don't want to jump into that, I mean, we're part of that phrase, we decided to just keep quiet. And we also, according to them, I think it was the NDC that nominated, that did that nomination. And we just had to set the record straight that we never nominated anybody. And we are not even aware of the committee. And again, Dr. Karahin, who is the deputy the deputy director of international relations, did not even notify us that he has been nominated to serve on that committee. So we knew nothing about the existence of that committee or the composition of that committee. That was what we put out there.
Well, the PNC's national chairman, Mr. Bernard Moore, has suggested that if the EC indeed decides to maintain this committee, it should consider the option of having representatives from all the political parties, or at least some major political parties. Alneta, what do you make of this
that would be fair.
opinion?
I would go with that would be fair, because it will not be fair for you to have representatives of some political parties when it comes to representing political representation or political party representation. Yeah, that would be very fair. We don't have any problem with that. But the fact is for them to go to the extent to say that we did a nomination, we nominated those people to serve on that committee, that was false. And we had to set the record straight, and that was it.
Well, finally, before you leave us, Mr. Joy Lawson, what are the expectations of the NDC moving forward?
Oh, we are already poised for victory. We are already on the ground doing work. And come November 7th, victory will be ours. That is why we are very optimistic. So that is why we are not so much, that's why we had to just come out to set the record straight with regards to the setting up or nomination to that steering committee. And also to when the electoral commission was giving us, when the electoral commission gave us its program for the year, but the inauguration of that steering committee was not on the program.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. George Lawson, Deputy General Secretary of the NDC. We've been joined now by the convener of Let My Vote Count Alliance. In fact, they started this entire campaign with a press statement they released some 3 days ago. Then the MPP came in and the other political parties came in. Mr. David Asante, your reaction to the EC's latest decision at this IPAC meeting?
Hello, good evening.
Mr. David Asante, I was asking what you make of this decision by IPAC, the EC's directive.
Thank you very much. Let me say good evening to us all. We welcome the decision of the Electoral Commission on the dissolution or the suspension of the 2016 Election Steering Committee. As a matter of fact, this is exactly what we expect the Commission to have done. To go back to the table, sit with the major stakeholders, the political party players, get their input, and compose either a purely political platform to give a fair ground to all the political parties, or an entirely neutral committee altogether where the members have no open affiliation or association with any political party.
Well, you also wanted this committee dissolved. The EC has not done that. What they've done now is to temporarily halt the operations of this steering committee until the demands, the concerns by the political parties are reviewed.
Yeah, I think the EC is on the right path. Certainly, we do not expect the EC to give in suddenly. They started by saying the members of the committee who are NDC have pulled out. We still need the committee to work. We will never dissolve it. Now they have told us they have suspended it. We are gradually getting there. I'm sure the EC, in a subtle manner, has demonstrated ample remorse. But the remorse is not enough to remedy the problems we envisage for election 2016. We need the EC to go back and sit and do proper in-house curing of a few anomalies we have identified in their dealings. The EC must set up and really rectify a few of these anomalies to give us absolute confidence in the day-to-day discharge of their duty. So our confidence and then the kind of respect we have for the commission to be absolute.
And finally, Mr. David Asante, what are your expectations? The EC, from what I've gathered, did not set any specific timelines within which period they are going to come out with their final decision. What are your expectations?
Sorry, I missed that.
I'm wondering what your expectations are as the EC reviews this, the concerns of the opposition political parties on this matter.
Yeah, really, it is a good step for the EC to broaden the scope of
What are your expectations? What are your expectations in the coming days as we wait for the EC's decision?
Our expectations are simple. Let the EC broaden the scope of engagement, fair input to all the political parties and fair representation to all the political parties. Nobody stops or can stop the EC from creating committees to work with. What we are saying is, let the political parties who are the major players have fair input and representation. Make it independent if you so want to. As simple as that.
Thank you very much. Mr. David Asante is a convener of Let My Vote Count Alliance, a pressure group there. We can now speak to Mr. Obi Amwa, who was one of the three men who represented the MPP at today's IPAC meeting. Thank you very much, Obi Amwa, for joining us on today's big story. Do clarify this for me. Did the EC give any specific timelines insofar as when they are going to come out with their findings is concerned?
Thank you and good evening. Yes, as far as we are concerned, the EC said they will get back to us. So we'll be expecting them when they are ready, they can get back to us.
So they did not tell you exactly when?
I don't know whether they will be able to come back by the next IPAC meeting, which is next month, or they will need more time. It will be up to them.
Is the MPP happy with this decision or otherwise?
Well, MPP is very happy with this decision.
Why so?
I cannot speak for the other parties, but all the other parties were also in agreement that the EC needed to do a lot of work before coming out with such a steering committee. They say that they're going back to the drawing board. We asked first that we didn't even know the terms of reference of the steering committee. We don't know their mandate, who they report to in their operations, the extent of their powers, and why the level of membership of the committee. These are all questions which are hanging. And they said that they didn't want us to pursue the matter further, but to go back to the drawing board. So we should be waiting for them. But these are critical issues that we've raised. And if they say that, to all intents and purposes, they are suspending what they inaugurated just recently, then we should be happy for it.
Well, over the past few days since this debate started, we had the NDC fully backing the position of the Electoral Commission not to review this, the operations of this committee and all that. And today, we learned from the vice chairman of the party who also was there, some of us, for that at this IPAC meeting, the NDC fully backed this decision to hold the operations of the committee for now. Were you surprised?
Well, not necessarily, and not really. If you listen to the commentators, they seem to have a problem with the fact that we had raised issues with Dr. Ahi, and the fact that they thought everything that EC comes up with, we have issues with such decisions. But at the meeting, I mean, they were emphatic that indeed what the EC had done had rather put them in bad light, and the impression had even been created that they were in cahoots with the EC, that they were in bed, as one person said, that they were in bed with the EC and that they took part in that decision to have such a committee.
Did that issue even come up? The fact that the MPP had alleged some members of the committee are known NDC members. Did that issue come up at today's IPAC meeting?
It came up to the extent that the EC made it clear that they wrote to the institutions to bring their reps. They don't know it went up this way. And to the extent that I even raised the issue that if indeed they wanted to ask institutions to bring reps, then they should have put in certain caveats so that they will not be saddled with such situations. To the extent that if you look at the Constitution, even for membership of the National Media Commission, various conditions are spelled out as to who can become a member of the Media Commission. If you're a founding member of a party, or if you hold a certain position in a political party, you are not allowed to be a member of the Media Commission. So some of us were looking at some of these things, and because there was no consultation, we could not even make our inputs as to whether, indeed, if there was a need for such a committee, the conditions under which anybody could be a member of that committee.
There's an interesting suggestion by Mr. Bernard Mona of the PNC saying that if indeed the Electoral Commission decides to maintain this committee, the option of perhaps having political party representatives from a chunk of the political parties, or some of them really, should be considered. You agree with that?
I don't think we've reached there yet. In the first place, the EC is here to convince us about the need for even such a committee, and whether what the committee is doing, IPAC cannot do it. IPAC is not in a position to advise EC on some of these issues. I think we haven't gotten to a point where we should even be interested in getting members of political parties on such a steering committee. The EC has its mandate. It has its constitutional mandate. The EC, the political parties, have managed to bring together a body that advises the EC. Going forward, the body has served the EC very well. Even within the body, EC has set up various committees. We have the legal committee, we have the technical committee, and all these bodies complement what the EC does. So some of us were a bit surprised when they came out with steering committees without consulting us. They're finding it difficult to even tell us the terms of reference of such a committee.
And as you mentioned earlier, the AC has not indicated when exactly they will be coming out with their final decision. Yes. But what does the MPP expect?
Well, ideally, the AC should just shelve this idea of steering committee. Ideally, they should shelve it because it's becoming too controversial. And I'm wondering how they're going to change this whole situation for members to even have certain kind of confidence in that committee. They should just go with their work. If they need advice of the parties, so be it. There are other constitutional bodies which can help the EC do their work. Indeed, you don't need NCC on your steering committee before NCC will go ahead to do the work they are supposed to do. You don't need GES for you to be able to say that we are recruiting teachers to be able to assist. Because every teacher that you recruit, that teacher is subject to the law. And even if the parties object to such a teacher, and they have legal grounds, tangible legal grounds to object, this teacher cannot serve as a registration officer or electoral officer for the EC. So I don't see why they are entangling themselves with another committee and all the implications and all the issues that can come up, even when it comes to the legal side of it. They should just go ahead and do their work. The parties have sacrificed so much in helping them do their work. If you care to know, if CI has been laid in Parliament, before the CIAV came to Parliament, they had a legal committee made up of reps of parties which assisted them to get this CI in place. So I don't see why they would be worrying themselves with any steering committee and all the implications of ramifications.
Mr. Obiamo, one of the other key issues, I understand, the key decisions that IPAC took today concerns the limited registration exercise. Tell me about that.
Well, from the look of things, some of us were very sure that the EC cannot go ahead with the registration in March. And today they confirmed it. They're saying that from the look of things, they're still waiting for the CI to mature, which can only be part of the reason. I believe the major reason is that the EC doesn't even have all the funds to be able to carry out the registration exercise in March. They're saying that hopefully by the last week of April, they should be able to start it. And even there are issues concerning the electoral areas, how they are going to map up the electoral areas to be able to...
So those issues are yet to be resolved, if I get it clear. All right, thank you very much, MP for Equiapim South, Obiamo, and one of the MPP's representatives at today's IPAC meeting. We've been joined on the line by a political science lecturer at the University of Ghana, Dr. Evans Agridako, for some analysis on this. Dr. Agridako, the last time we spoke to you, the political parties had raised this issue. Today, the IPAC has decided that this steering committee should halt its operations temporarily. Your views?
You know, the whole election process is also about consensus building. You know, understand? The key stakeholders must also agree on the parameters within which, apart from the legal processes, if there are some administrative arrangements, why not? If the key stakeholders think that there are some hitches, and for which reason they think that the EC must halt the process, we are looking at the national interest, you know. The last time my contention was that if those individuals who perhaps are found to be die-in-the-wool party supporters are taken out, then the committees could still go ahead and do its work.
You feel this is a good decision by the EC to have asked that this be halted?
No, but no, you need the maximum cooperation of the key stakeholders. And in this particular instance, you are talking about the role of the political party, who are ubiquitous in any democracy. So if the key stakeholders are insisting that because there was lack of consensus, lack of information, lack of communication, and perhaps they were not privy to the discussions and the negotiations that went into this major decision making, and for which reason they think that the EC perhaps erred in the process. Why not? I mean, for me, I think that whatever decision that we arrive at must be in line with the national interest. So if the key stakeholders think that they are not privy and therefore the EC must halt the process, why not? What will be interested in is that the EC must be focused, and they must not waver. The EC must be focused, must not waver, and if they think that consultation is important, then the right consultation must be done, so that we build consensus going forward, so that we don't have to have this back and forth kind of arrangement.
Very well. Thank you very much, senior lecturer at the Political Science Department at the University of Ghana, Dr. Evans Agridako. And in today's big story with me, Kwache Afreniam. Have a pleasant evening.